Good morning, Liberty Kindergarten. How are you today? Happy Friday. We are going to do some work today reviewing our letters and their sounds. We will use our fingers to tap out words, and then I'm going to read a story to you. I have this book about a porcupine named Elmore, so we're going to read that, and then we're going to learn how to do something that he talks about in the book. So I think it's going to be a fun Friday. I want to give a shout out to all of you that are paying attention to our videos and doing your lessons. Your teachers are so very proud of you. So let's go ahead and get started. A is for apple, ah. B is for bat, b, b, b. C is for cat, k, k, k. D is for dog, d, d, d. E is for Ed, eh. F is for fun, G is for game, g, g, g. H is for hat, h, h, h. I is for itchy, I. J is for jug, j, j, j. K is for kite, k, k, k. L is for lamp, ooh. M is for man, N is for nut, n. O is for octopus, ah. P is for pan, p, p, p. Q is for queen, qu, qu, qu. R is for rat, r. S is for snake, s. T is for top, t, t, t. U is for up, V is for van, v. W is for wind, w. X is for fox, x, x, x. Y is for yellow, y. Z is for zebra, z. CH is for chin, ch, ch, ch. SH is for ship, sh. TH is for thumb, WH is for whistle, and CK is for sock, k, k, k. Very nice. All right, let's tap out some of our words. Let's start with the word frost. Frost. Here we go. Get your fingers ready. Frost. Good. Drips. Ips. Very nice. Soft. Soft. 4 sounds in soft. Let's try the word split. Split. Sp. O. It. Split. Let's do the word traps. T. Apps. Try that one more time. Traps. T. Apps. Good. Let's do the word brings. She brings cookies for her students. Brings. Here we go. Ings. It's got that sound in it. Try it again. Ings. Good. Stamp. Stamp. Amp. Good. Let's do the word thrill. Thrill. Ill. 4 sounds in that word. Let's do the word trash. Trash. Ash. Good. And let's finish with the word bench. Bench. One more time. Bench. Good job. Okay, the story that I'm going to read to you today is called Elmore. It's a story about a little porcupine who wants to have some friends. The author and the illustrator of the story is Holly Hobby. Here's the front cover, the back cover, and of course the spine of the book. let's get started. The story of Elmore. There's our title page. Elmore lived by himself in an ancient maple tree. He loved it there. Do you see him up here in the tree? The word ancient means old. It's an old maple tree. Every few days he would climb down the huge tree trunk as darkness fell to graze on his favorite leaves and twigs. Then back he would go to his snug hollow in the ancient tree. Elmore was solitary. He lived alone, and you'd think he would be used to that by now. But here's the thing. He often felt lonely. Solitude could be boring. He always had trouble making friends. What was the problem? After all, the L in Elmore's name, his mother once explained, stood for love. He put up a sign. His sign said, "Friends wanted." He was discouraged by what he had overheard. "He's too prickly. It's hard to be around him," they said. Elmore shook his back and his quills rattled. It was true. If you got too close, you might get needled, nettled, prickled. Elmore didn't mean it. It just happened. He spent a rainy day holed up in the ancient tree, thinking about what to do. What could be done about his troublesome quills? They were there to protect him, like a coat of armor. But protect him from what? Elmore's life was peaceful. He was lucky. The next day, his old uncle happened to come shuffling past Elmore's tree. "Good morning, Elmore." A moment later, he said, "You don't seem your usual cheerful self. Is something wrong?" "I wish I didn't have all these quills," Elmore explained. "I'm too hard to be around. I have no friends." "I'm your friend," his uncle smiled. "That's different," Elmore replied. "But you are a porcupine," his uncle stated emphatically. "You wouldn't be a porcupine without quills." "I know," said Elmore. "I've got hundreds and thousands of them." "You're a handsome porcupine," his uncle added. "Your quills are beautiful. You should treasure them." His uncle's kind words made Elmore feel better. Then, as he looked at the many quills scattered about his cozy dwelling, he had an idea. What do you think Elmore's going to do? Look, he's gathering up the quills. I wonder what he'll do with them. Elmore tied up each small cluster of quills with a bit of string. He posted another sign. It says, quill pens, 100% real porcupine quills, free. And I'm going to show you the word quill. If you can see there, you notice that it's spelled with a Q and then a U. Just like we learned the other day that oftentimes after the letter Q, as a matter of fact, most of the time after the letter Q comes the letter U. For 2 days, they went like hotcakes. Everyone could enjoy a quill pen, especially if it was made from 100% real porcupine quills, and free too. They could make ink from berries, Elmore suggested, which was extra fun. Everyone loves getting a note from a friend, he said as he handed out the bundles. By the time the last quill pens were gone, Elmore was tuckered out, but most of all, he was happy. In the days that followed, he received all kinds of notes. It was exciting. This one says, "This is a picture of us. We love our quill pens. Let's be pen pals." One bright morning after the quill event, there was a big sign tacked to the trunk of Elmore's tree. Let's see what the note said. "You are a beautiful porcupine. Our woods are lucky to have you. Signed, your friends." And that is the story of Elmore. I hope you liked the story of Elmore making quill pens for his friends. I did a little research this morning so that you could see how ink is made and what a quill is. So let's take a look at that. So here's a picture of a quill. What do you think that's made from? You're right, it's made from a feather. And this is called an inkwell, and inside of that there is ink that people would write with. So let's learn a little bit about a quill and ink. So a quill, or a quill pen, is a writing tool that's made from a flight feather of a large bird, which uses ink to leave marks on a writing surface. The point of the feather, this part right down here, is treated so that it can be used for writing, and a hollow shaft of the feather holds the ink, which from there flows to the tip. So the inside of this feather is kind of like a straw. It's hollow on the inside. So when you dip the feather into the inkwell, a little bit of ink goes up into this part of the feather, and it's stored in there so that when you write with it, the ink will slowly come out onto your paper. Quills have been used to write with for over 1,300 years. Now we use ink pens. So we don't use quills so much anymore, but many years ago they were used. So here is a picture on the inside of a person from a long time ago using their feather pen, and you see the inkwell right there. And then I wanted you to see some other pictures. So this is an inkwell with the feather dipped down in there. Here's another one over here, and you see the parchment paper that's rolled up as a scroll. And then up here you see they've got this feather. This one happens to be red. This feather, and they dip it into the ink, and then it shows you how you can write your ABCs with the tip of it. And then down here in the bottom left is another picture. There are two different feathers in either side of that inkwell. Okay? Now let's learn how to make ink. What do you think these are? Those are blackberries. And this is ink that's made with blackberries. So these are materials that you would need, or that were used many years ago in order to make ink. So you need some kind of berry. Here there's an example of raspberries or blackberries or even blueberries, depending on what color ink you want. And then you need vinegar, white vinegar, a little touch of water, some salt, and then you need one of these two things. You either need a mortar and pestle, which is what this is called, or you need some kind of a strainer in a container to put it in. So the first thing that you do is you smash the berries. And here, in this example, the person is using a strainer, and this is just a bunch of aluminum foil that's rolled into a ball that they're using to push the berry, this is a blackberry, to push the berry through so that the juice comes out into the container. So you're really just using the juice part of the berries. After he gets some juice that he wants out of the berry, then he adds a little bit of white vinegar to it. The vinegar helps the ink, once you put it onto the paper, it helps it to stay there on the paper. And then you add a little bit of table salt, because of course it's a berry and you want to be able to preserve it so that it doesn't get yucky like it would if you just left your berries sitting out on the counter. They would start to get moldy. But if you add salt to it, salt acts as a preservative to keep it from getting yucky, basically. And then you stir it up, adding in a little touch of water if you would like. And then you put it inside a container made of glass. And this one has a lid on it. And that would just basically be called an ink well, or a container or a well full of ink. And then you write with your quill. So here's an example of what the blackberry ink looks like, and there's a color for the blueberry ink. And then here you see he's got the end of the feather, the end of it has been cut and shaped a little bit to give it a point. Makes it easier to write letters and things like that. And that's the end. So I know I thought that was interesting when I learned about that this morning, and hopefully you think that's interesting too. So just like in our story, the porcupine, Elmore, gave his friends the quills and they made their ink out of berries that were in the forest. Now we know how that's done. I wonder if you might like to try to make some ink. I hope you enjoyed our story and our learning of how ink is made. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday for more learning.